Good to see you again. This is Advanced Software Package Management. There are about 15 slides here, 20 minutes for the lecture and 40 minutes for the practice. This is about an hour's worth of time, and that's pretty much right on target. So we're going to take a look at popular Yum plugins. We're going to take Yum to manage the errata. We're going to start the software kit, update GUI. Now, once again, like some of the things in some of the other lectures, I'm not so sure that I'm a package kit software person. All right. And then lastly, the kernel splice tool, ksplice, has now been updated to do user space patching. And so once again, how would you like never to have to reboot your servers again, but still be able to apply ELSAs, RHSAs, and CVEs? Wouldn't that be pretty good? Okay. So popular Yum packages. The first one here, KABI, is the kernel binary interface, application interface. All right. Aliases. It allows you to create and view aliases for Yum commands. It includes the etc yum aliases.conf file. There's a temp repro and there's a changelog. All right. And so once again, there's a lot of work underway with Yum. All right. And you may have even heard that Yum is going away. Once again, that's false news. All right. There's something over in the Fedora. This is the consumer released version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is called Danified Yum. All right. Now, if this wasn't software, if this was a cooking class, there's an adage in a cooking class that too many cooks spoil the broth. Well, if you take that and put that into programming, there's been too many programmers who have worked on Yum. And so one of the things that Fedora, a basic part of Red Hat, is trying to accomplish is to get Yum standardized. Make sure that all the APIs all work the exact same way. Okay? And I think, at some point in time in the future, that we'll see a new release of Yum that will come out of the Fedora foundries to help clean up Yum. And Yum needs a little bit of a cleanup. All right. Is it better than up to date? Oh, you betcha. Could there be some other things to be changed in it? Absolutely. So here we're going to start with errata and Yum update info list. And that gets me all the errata. I would encourage you to pipe that into Yum. When you do this in the lab, oh my God, there's 1,200 entries. Boy, they fly by you on the screen. You hardly have a time to blink. Okay? And so we can add to the update info list --security equals something. In this case, it's important. All right. We have update info advisory, and we give a specific Enterprise Linux security advisory. ELSA, Enterprise Linux Security Advisory. There's also a Red Hat Enterprise, there we go, Red Hat Security Advisory. Now, both Oracle and Red Hat issues SAs, Security Advisory. Okay. We have an organization under Homeland Security called MITRE, M-I-T-R-E, MITRE Corp. That's an MIT organization, all right, out of Cambridge. And they're the ones who are originally responsible for managing common vulnerability and exposures. The second grouping here is a year, and beginning in 2015, MITRE Corp, who had been using a 4-digit number, came back and said, folks, we're going to expand the number from 4 to 5 digits, and if necessary, we're then going to expand the 5 digits to 6. Now, at that same time, MITRE Corp recognized IBM, Red Hat, and Oracle as stakeholders in the CVEs for Linux. All right? And so all three of us now have the possibility of generating a CVE. Now, there's Bugzilla and BugTrack and CERN. There's a whole bunch of other organizations worldwide that MITRE Corp follows to generate the bulk of the CVEs. No, there's no special designation to let you know it's an IBM, it's an Oracle, it's a Red Hat. All right, but at least we have the authority now to also generate our own CVEs. Because once again, we've got hundreds of thousands of lines added to an Oracle unbreakable enterprise kernel, all in the name of improving performance for the Oracle stack that you're going to be running on your computers. Okay? Package kit. This is a GUI. All right? And what it does, it sits in the background and chews up cycles, which is the reason Al doesn't like it. All right? You know, I have server, but I don't want that server constantly querying to see if the server needs any updates. You know, I do a check update with Yum in the morning, in the evening, all right? But to have it running all day and chewing cycles all day, I want those cycles for my database, or my web server, or my app server. All right, I don't want it spent on this package kit stuff. That's an owl. All right, I'll be honest with you, that's an owl. Now, you're in the lab going to do this, and it's going to take it 30 minutes to compile a list of 500 or 600 updates that are available from yum.oracle.com. Do not click install updates. You will be there forever. All right. Click quit. All right. And then I would encourage you to go in and undo the mischief that you've done. Okay. Now, besides there being a GUI, there's also a GPK dbus service, desktop bus, a log, an update viewer, and install a local file if you've downloaded a file. And then there is preferences, GPK, and that's GNU package kit. All right. There's a pkcon, a pkmon, and a pkcheck as command line tools as well. The kernel splice utility was first made available by Oracle in 2010. Since then, we have had $1.5 million successful kernel patches. That's awesome. All right. And that number may be a year old. It may be more than that now. Well, one of the requests that we've had from the user base is, okay, I don't want to do just kernel patching. I would like to do user space patching. All right. Some of my user space programs are important. All right, and they may require a reboot. And a reboot is just not as simple as taking the server down and bringing it back up. If I'm running a database, I've got to do a graceful shutdown of the database. I've got to shut down all of the database agents. I've got to shut down ASM if the database is using ASM. Then I've got to reboot the box, restart ASM, restart all the agents, and restart the database. This is not a 3 or 4 or 5 minute activity. This is something that approaches 30, 35, 40 minutes. All right? Not something I want to do in the middle of the week on a high production day. Not at all. Okay? So it's only going to be for 7. The enhanced client is not currently available for Oracle Linux 6, okay? And I've not heard any published remarks that tell us that it's now available, okay? It's an online client. It requires a direct network connection to the Oracle Uptrack server. The enhanced client is not currently available as an offline client. Because for Ksplice, we have an offline client because not everybody's computer is connected to the internet. All right, so this is the first release of the software. Initial release focuses on the glibc and OpenSSL. And once again, we've had Heartbleed, OpenSSL as a CVE vulnerability. And you'll have typical uptrack commands from Ksplice to be able to allow you to go out and manage this environment. So you'll need to subscribe to Oracle Support Services. You must be at the premier level, which is the highest level to get Ksplice as a goodie, okay? The Ksplice Aware User Program is x86 only, 64. There's not a 32-bit client. And I don't know whether there ever will be. Once again, I'm not in the development team. I'm in the instructional team. Okay. And so you have a yum install Ksplice, all right, to allow you to get this tool up and installed. So there is an uptrack.conf file over in the etc uptrack directory. You can enable the auto installation of updates. You can set the auto install to yes. I'd want to think about that. All right. There are updates to packages that occur regularly. Maybe daily. That might be, instead of regularly, maybe daily is a better answer. At home, on my personal gear, I use Conical's Ubuntu consumer version, all right? And if I get an update notification from apt-get in that Debian Ubuntu on Monday, by Wednesday, I get the same notification from Oracle that I have, 3, 5, 8, 12, 24 packages that need to be updated. Okay, and so I think I want to know what I'm updating as opposed to just letting it go out and install anything that's there. But you may have a different comfort level than I do. So ksplice, option, subsystem, list targets, show, apply, undo. All right. You got oops protection. And so with the kernel updates, we do a ksplice update, and we can turn right back around and do a ksplice remove. All right, we got the oops ability to allow us to change our mind. And then there's an upgrade and same sort of syntax, a remove. So ksplice user list targets, upgrade. Ksplice yes, user upgrade. That way, kind of like yum. If you put in the -y with yum, it does the install. If you don't, it says, are you sure? Okay. Ksplice show, all show, and then you will get ID numbers associated with a ksplice update, much like you get when you do a yum info command. And so you'll see updates that have numbers to them. And so I can undo a particular update. Once again, I said this would be a pretty short chapter, and we're there now. And so you're going to do some yum plugins. You're going to manage your RADA, all right? You're going to turn on package kit, and I would encourage you to turn it off. But the particular machine you're on, you power off so it really does go away. The nice list is you can go down and pick and choose in the package kit screen which updates are critical to you. You don't have to apply them all, particularly when there's 500. That's nuts. All right. And then lastly, this new tool, user space patching, available in Oracle Linux 7 currently, but maybe being backported to the other environments. Which statements are true about yum plugins? Select all that apply. Plugins extend the functionality of yum. New plugins are automatically included in the latest release of the yum package. Each plugin has its own configuration file, and by default, all yum plugins are enabled in yum.conf. You need to go in there and disable them if that was important. ACD, B's wrong. All right, B's wrong. All right, so we'll explore host 03. You'll have to start it up. You have to do a create. We'll manage yum plugins. We'll do yum utilities, and then we'll do software updates with package kit. We can't do the user space patching with ksplice because they don't have an offline client. And you actually need to have a ksplice number to be able to do that with, and you have to register with that channel. And once again, that does require premier support from Oracle support services. So let's go to the lab. We'll see you back here in just a little bit. All right, this is practice number 6, all right. Software package management. We're going to take a look at yum plugins and package kit software update program. And so we'll learn to manage yum plugins, and then we'll manage software updates with package kit software program. So we're going to log in to host 03, view the yum configuration because host 03 is set up to run yum. And so the assumptions are you're the root user and that host 03 VM is pre-configured. So we're going to need to start host 03. And so back here, We are in the host 1 directory. All right. So let's cd up a level to host 03. And we have a system.image file and a vm.config. There are really no utility disk in this particular effort. And so what we want to do is we want to do a create vm.config, and we'll list that we have dome0 and host 03. Let's do this. xm start. There we go. Now, once again, I think I probably mentioned to you a little bit earlier, these ID numbers increment every time you start create one of the virtual machines. By the end of this course, you could be in the teens or the 20s, not very handily. All right. And so once again, we're going to connect with VNC Viewer. Once again, I'm going to change that syntax on you just a little bit here. But at the end of the day, we're going to have this same sort of screen. This is where we connected to host 01 doing the install. And so I'm going to connect to host 03. Once again, we'll put this in the background. That way, the dome0 environment is always available to us. And once again, that kind of looks like the picture in the book. Amazing, right? Once again, we have both root and Oracle user IDs configured, and the connection here will be with the password of Oracle to be Oracle and a password of Oracle to be root. So we click the student name, password appears, ORACLE, all in lowercase, and there we go. And I'm going to right click here and open a terminal. And now this is a pretty standard command. Who am I? pwd hostname. I'm Oracle. Well, no, I got to be root. Okay. So substitute user, and with the hyphen run all the setup scripts. And now root, I'm in the root directory, and once again, this is host 03, as we were expecting to be. Now, host 03 is pre-configured to access the Oracle Linux Yum server. There are 4 files that provide access. There's a ET80 network file, resolve.conf profile, and then there is in the etc yum repros.d public yum ol7 repro. And so a cat of the ifconfig ET80 gives us our DNS information. And once again, that should look very similar to the DNS information that you entered into host 01 as you were doing the install. And so you notice down here, somewhat close to the bottom, we have the DNS entries, and then the us.oracle.com and the example.com as the domains that we want to be able to search. We're going to confirm resolve.conf, which would once again bring us all the same numbers. And that all looks kind of good. And yeah, cool. That's all great. That's good. All right. Next file is to do a tail on Etsy profile. And once again, we're looking for this HTTP proxy to be set up. And certainly the last entry here is that proxy. So that looks good. And the last item here is to do a cat on public yum. Well, I'm not going to do a cat. I'm going to do a less. All right. And so under latest, we're looking for 1. Under base and base, 0. UEK3 enabled. And then the latest is 0. Tell you what, let's Q. And so we have 2 that are enabled and all the rest are 0 or disabled. So that kind of sounds like we meet the criteria here. Okay. You can now download the latest version of Public Yum from yum.oracle.com. Notice that it is no longer public yum.oracle.com. All right. And if you were to download this, you'd now have a repository for UEK4. This is 2017, as you remember from the date and time practice that we did. January of 2016 was when the UEK4 was released by Red Hat, and then we followed shortly thereafter with our own version. Uh, 6.2, managing Yum plugins. And so we want to do a clean all right. We could say clean up everything. However, another app is holding the Yum lock, waiting for it to exit, and it's going to give me a process ID number. In the example, it's 248. We'll see whether my number is anywhere near close to that. All right. So let's clear. Now in this case, I didn't get caught with package kit. All right, and just because I'm curious, Well, it's running, but it's not holding a lock. All right. So the package kit daemon is there, but it doesn't hold a lock. Otherwise, we'd have you kill it. Okay. It says if the following appears, open another terminal window and kill the package kit process. Now, well, it's not running. Well, it's running, but it's not right now interfering. If it begins to interfere, I'll kill it in a heartbeat. Okay. Yum repro list. Now you notice that the only two that came up was the UEK3 and the latest, which were the only ones that had the enabled equaling true, R1. When you know it, just as I was getting ready to take a drink of water, it came back. I'm sorry. We're good. We now have the Yum cache populated. And so we want to go into etc yum plugin conf.d. It's a directory. Typically, anything that ends in .d is a directory. And so language packs, the Red Hat Network plugin, and then the Oracle's Unbreakable Linux Network info.com. We want to cat the language pack. And what we're looking for there is, once again, enabled equals 1. All right. And so our current language is US English UTF-8. Once again, thank you very much, Ken Thompson. All right. And that also governs our locales. If we do a cat on Red Hat, you'll notice that it's not enabled. It's 0 because while you can get your support from either Red Hat or from us, you're not going to get it from both. All right. And you notice here for ULN, it is enabled. All right, with a GPG check. And the reason it's this way is because we're running an unbreakable enterprise kernel. All right. Yes, you can certainly do that on Red Hat, but it's much easier, particularly for patches and things like that, that come out regularly, to get that from Oracle. And when I worked and lived in Virginia, I now live in Texas, I would have pre-sales consultants who would tell me that for the same level of service between Oracle and Red Hat, Oracle is less expensive. All right, so we took a look at all three of those. We now want to do an RPMQA grepping for language packs. And so we have this Yum language pack with no architecture. All right. Now that's clear. RPM-QA pipe grep and so what we have is we have this Yum language pack now, and so an RPM-QL to list the libraries. Tell you what we're going to do. Let's take this tech terminal window here. I'm going to move it up, move it a little bit over. I'm going to take this right-hand side and extend it, and I'm going to take the bottom here and extend it. There we go. That makes it a little more readable. All right, it didn't change its results any. It just made it more readable. Now, there's this Yum language pack that's installed. And typically with packages that get installed, there's also documentation that comes along with it. And so Yum language pack, it's a plugin for Yum. Obviously you use the Yum command, all right, and you get lang available, lang info, lang install, and a lot of other options, okay. And so let's start with lang available. I'm going to do a Q and get out. A lot of languages, but down at the end here, there's one called Yiddish. I don't know why the curriculum developer chose Yiddish, but he did. All right, it is what it is. And so it starts at the top, all right. But down here there is Yiddish, so we're going to do lang info on Yiddish. That's clear. Well, it's lang info. Kind of looks like our output. And so what we now want to do is do a lang install. Now, if you've used Yum before, you know that Yum gives either a yes or a no. Do you actually want to go out and do the install? Here in Linux 7, it also gives you the letter D for download only. All right. And so once again, I don't know that shows up anywhere in our documentation. I'm going to say why. Okay. And so once again, the first question is it yes to get it downloaded and installed, or is it just download? you would not get this second yes prompt if you just chosen the D for download, because now we're ready to do the install. All right, so it depends upon what you're doing, but if it's just a straight install, you may not end up with a download option. But you can always do in Yum download only, all right, as a technique. So Yum lang list, Yiddish is going to say, and lang remove, Yiddish. All right. Al, those little 4 bytes are giving me all sorts of trouble. The answer is Y for yes. And once again, the D doesn't show up. This is not a download. It's just yes or no. You want me to remove it or not? All right, let's clear. And so we installed it, we listed it, we removed it, and we pretty much clean up after ourselves here. We're going to do a list available grep for Yum plugin. Okay. And one of the ones here is a Yum plugin alias. All right. The second one there, aliases, is one that we're going to go out and install. And once again, you have the option here just to download. No. Let's install. All right. Oh, and we have a complete with an exclamation point, which tells me that we're done. Now, obviously, we just installed a new RPM. There were some dependencies that need to come along with this. And so we'll do a query list, what pieces and parts are inside of this package. RPM, QL, and so these are the aliases. There's some Python files here. And then there is some documentation, as you would expect, over in user share man. All right, so if we wanted to go out and do Yum aliases, we can get a man page on that as well. Now, while I have this up, let's do a C And you notice that we have some configuration files. There's one in etcyyumaliases.conf and then etcyyumplugin.d aliases.conf. So you've got two configuration files. And the reason I did that is because the next command here wants us to go out and take a look at etcyyumaliases. And so all I'm trying to do is show you that there's more than one. And there's one over there in that yumd directory, all right, or plugins.d directory. Tell you what, let's not do a cat, let's do a less. And so the dev and the UPT source, then down here there's crit, force, dupes, and then there's an upgrade. Yeah, that looks like the information that's there. All right, cool. So we'll get out. And so here, the loaded plugins now show that remember we had language packs and ULN info, we now have aliases. That was one of those new files that was added. That's why I ran the -q configuration file. All right. Yum aliases, and there's quite a list here. And so what we're going to use is the LSA, which is to list available. Okay. Yum LSA. Oh, I'll tell you what, let's do this. And then there's just a whole series of things that are there. All right, that ends 6.2. Using Yum utilities. And so in this particular, we're going to look at critical vulnerabilities and exposures information. We'll update packages affected. We'll view software package information. And we'll use the Yum download only, which I kind of briefly mentioned a little earlier. All right. So we want to start this Yum update info list. All right. To get a list of, in this case, ELSAs. These happen to be generated by Oracle. These are Enterprise Linux security advisories. There could be RHSAs, Red Hat security advisories. Okay. Oh, we've got some BSAs too. All right. But you notice in the second column over, after the number for the ELSA, you've got low security, bug fix, enhancement. Tell you what, let's once again, let's take this command and let's pipe it into less. All right, page 1. All right, so they're either enhancements or they're bug fixes. And we're now down to 161843. Page 2. All right. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Stop. We're going to do a Q and get out. And what I'm going to do, instead of piping it into less, I'm going to pipe it into word count. There's 1,297 different ELSAs and ELBAs. The BAs are bug advisories, all right? And so here we're going to do an update info list just for CVEs. And once again, we're going to take and pipe this into word count. There's 1,165 of them. So I'm not going to go through all of them with you, all right? Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's pipe this back into less. Doesn't matter. All right. In the book, all right, let's go back over here. When this material was created, once again, at the end of 2014, no, at the end of 2015, because it was actually published in 2016, we were getting a lot of CVEs from 2015. And he picked the one down there at the bottom, the 215.0255. The problem is that CVE by now 2017 has been fixed. All right. Common vulnerabilities and exposures, once again, maintained and generated by MITRE Corp, an MIT organization underneath Homeland Security. Okay. So, no, I'm not going to run you down through all of them, but there are still some 2015s here. While I'm paging down through this, we had a guy go ballistic on us. There was a CVE that was dated 2009. And this was last year in 2016. And he wondered, why wasn't it solved? And the answer is, dude, you just happened to randomly pick out that number and it's already been closed. All right, that's why it no longer shows up. He was quiet for the rest of the week. All right, just really was. So, in the book, we have highlighted this CVE 2015-0255. The problem is it's 2015. Today is 2017, but let's pick a CVE that is current, and the last one in the list ought to be good enough to bring information to you. And so this 2016 4971. And so whenever you're viewing this, you may have a different list than even the list that I have. 4971. Okay, and once again, you can play around with this as much as you want. You notice here we have 4 things that relate to number 1248. And there's a Vim common, a Vim enhancement, file system, and Vim minimal. Okay, well, let's type in the alias command again. Oh, I didn't get what I expected. Ah, there's a link here that was binvi. I say link, we'll find out here. It's an executable, but when you type in VI, you really get Vim. So I just type in VI, it comes up and says Vim. All right. We've looked at it. So we've got a yum list. We do a yum info and get out some more details about it. Obviously, this was something to fix wget used with Apache. All right. And besides the 4971, there is also a 4877 from 2014 with an FTP symlink arbitrary file system access. All right. And so once again, you'll get a lot of information, certainly available. We'll update this CVE. And obviously there's a lot of stuff here to be done and taken care of. The answer is yes. And so we updated the packages, all right. And now that's been updated and it's complete. That's how easy it is to fix a common vulnerability and exposure, okay. Next thing here is to do a yum list available grep for Oracle RDBMS. Let's clear. When this class was put together, there was 11GR2, there was 12CR1. Today, your mileage may vary. There could be a 12CR2. All right. Besides teaching the Linux operating system for Oracle, I've been known to dabble and teach some of the DBA classes. All right. So if now we've done the list available, so let's get a yum info RDBMS ORACLE RDBMS star glob. And what it does is it lists the packages that are out there, gives you the detail about them. And so pre-install RPM installs packages and sets system parameters required by the Oracle database, single instance, and Oracle real application clusters. So if you're using rack, then this covers both. All right. The actual number, this release here, is EL7. There is once again EL6 for Oracle Linux 6, and I believe that's 6 update 8 currently. Okay. So repo query requires Oracle Yum server. Okay. And I'm going to cheat here. There we go. Oh, not repo list, repo query. So bin bash, Bourne shell, Etsy, Red Hat release, etc. All right. So all of those pieces and parts here get updated. And so once again, this download only should really be here at the end of the line. And so we're going to do a yum install, but we're not going to actually run the RPM. We're just going to do a download only. And it will tell you, no, it's not going to do the install because it's exiting, because it's a download only specification. And once again, all of those packages that are involved with this once again, we want to show you what's involved, but we don't want it to take quite so long to do. All right. We've now gotten that done. Next piece of this is all of this information from the download only actually gets put into the Yum cache. All right. And there's going to be quite a few packages listed here, just like you saw in the Yum download. So cd var cache yum x86-64 7 server and so there are the packages that got downloaded, and you know, it's down there at the bottom of the list. There's our Oracle RDBMS server. There we go. The downloader command to download xorg 11 server xorg package. The command downloads the package in the current directory. The command does not download the dependencies though, because I'm not doing a yum install download only, I'm doing a yum downloader. All right, so it depends on what you're looking to get, okay? So clear pwd and so once again, down there at the bottom, here's this new package that's been downloaded and is available. We want to change the yum downloader to be a yum dependencies list on this particular package. Okay. And so we'll figure out what the dependencies are, and then we'll do that repro query, what requires. Sorry about that. I pushed the wrong item. There's the download only. So here's where we want it to be. Yum repro list, or yum dep list. And those are the dependencies involved in that. Quirt. Not query, but quirt. There we go. And so we got another list here. And one of the things in the book says, compare this list what was obtained from the dep list command in step 3 above. Well, that's tough to do. Tell you what, let's do. Let's do dep list again. And it gives you the difference here between the two. And so one was listed in the first file, the other was listed in the second file. So you get a little difference, all right? That way you get at least some sort of comparison. It always helps to add a -F in that command so I don't have to say yes, particularly when it's tens to hundreds of files. All right, that ends that part, and we're now down here to package kit. A package kit is an automated process for Yum that keeps going out and querying. Okay. My problem with it is that it takes up, I think, more resources than what its value is. And so, unfortunately, I'm just not a fan. Okay. So we want to go in here to etc.yum.conf and add this proxy statement. Tell you what, let's cd back to my home directory. And so we have these things that are here, the rest of it's comments. And so install only, I'm going to open a line below. So http:// global education support proxy.us.oracle.com:80. That looks exactly right. Do an escape, :WQ. And so we want to launch the software update in the GNOME taskbar. Applications, System Tools, Software Update. So, Applications, System Tools, Software Update. And we get this screen here of checking for updates. And there's a progress bar down here, downloading a list of changes. And so while this is running, it says, let's see what is currently update and going. So here in my window, ps-ef pipe grep yum. And so we have the package kit get updates newest. All right. And once again, very much looks like what's here. View the updates flagged by the system program. If the software program fails with an error, use the yum clean all and the repro list, and then return to that program. There should be 636 updates found. And I may not want to update all of those right now. That may not be what I want. Okay. No, it's still checking for updates. This can take some time. With this in the middle of the screen, I'm going to pause it, and we'll be back shortly. All right, there we go. So we didn't get that 600 number, we got 577. All right, but you do not want to click install updates. No, that's not good. All right. And so there are some security updates in here. I mean, you can take this list and scroll down through them. All right. 577 is an undaunting number. Okay. And so moving on from this, we didn't have to do either one of those two commands because it finally came back not with 89, but with 500 and something. And from a terminal window as root, run the gpk perfs command to view the software update preferences. Let's clear. gpk prefs and so the package source contains packages that can be installed on this computer. Latest Unbreakable, Oracle Linux 7 Server Latest. Remember, those were the only two items that were enabled. Okay. And so from the book, it tells us what we want to do is we want to click Oracle Linux Server Add-ins, kind of here in the middle of the screen. Click Close. All right, so we're really done here, so we're going to power off. Now, a lot of the VMs that we will use will be short duration. We'll bring it up, well, we'll do a practice, we'll take it down. All right, and once again, obviously we didn't want to do that 577 updates. That just didn't make sense. Okay. And that should conclude, and it does. All right. Thank you. We'll see you back here shortly.